In the middle of the 1800s, gold was discovered near the southwest corner of Powell County, Montana. The discovery not only gave Gold Creek its name, it also brought the state of Montana its heritage. Miners from all over the world flooded western Montana, and soon mines and smelters dotted the landscape from Phillipsburg to Helena. Rich deposits of gold, silver, copper, and other minerals yielded billions of dollars to Montana's economy for the next 100 years. Today, the remnants of the mining heydays can be found in and around Montana's national forest lands. There are hundreds of abandoned or inactive problem sites in the Forest Service Region 1 alone. Despite the historical appeal of the ghost towns and artifacts the miners left behind, old mills, sluice boxes, and the like, many of these abandoned and inactive mines present a dilemma. That's because they contain materials that are a serious environmental hazard to the creeks and streams that flow nearby. To address the problem, the Forest Service is developing a new approach of dealing with mine wastes. Instead of cleaning up old mines on a case-by-case basis, Forest Service scientists and land managers are studying watersheds and all the associated abandoned mine sites that lie within them. They are looking for ways to make mine waste cleanup more logical, efficient, and economical. Their hope is to transform damaged watersheds to healthy ones. Forest Service geologists and land managers are studying watersheds on the Helena and Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forests. There, wastes from 88 abandoned and inactive mines threaten the 10-mile, Little Blackfoot, Basin, Cataract, High Ore, and other drainages. The 10-mile drainage supplies the city of Helena with a portion of its public drinking water supply. Some 2.9 million cubic yards of wastes at old mine sites are completely unconfined. Every time water washes through them, say from spring runoff or a summer storm, sediments containing hazardous metals like aluminum, cadmium, copper, mercury, and zinc end up in the streams, or in some cases in the groundwater. Even though about 50 of the 88 old mines lie on private land, wastes from many of them affect resources on public lands, managed either by the Forest Service or the Bureau of Land Management. Wherever historical, unconfined mine wastes have eroded into streams, the abundant fish and rich aquatic life one would normally find in a Montana waterway are in short supply. In some reaches of the streams, they're gone altogether. The water is barren. Aquatic life simply cannot survive in water polluted by heavy metals found in historic mining wastes. These streams are proof of that. Are the old wastes that lie in the far reaches of mountain streams a risk to human health? The answer to that question is not clear, but studies conducted during this project will give agencies information to help find an answer for this question and other questions about water quality as well. Until recently, public land managers didn't have the resources to find abandoned and inactive mines, much less to deal with the environmental damage they caused. But during the late 1970s and through the 1980s, the Forest Service began to address water quality degradation from the mines, usually one at a time, as deteriorating environmental conditions demanded it and as funds allowed. Their methods involved preventing mine sediments and hazardous materials from moving off the site. If the wastes were relatively stable and weren't likely to be washed or leached into waterways or groundwater, mine waste cleanup involved recontouring the landscape and revegetating the area. But in cases where old mines and smelter areas had easily erodible wastes, or wastes that were otherwise likely to move, forest land managers created mine waste repositories. They buried the wastes in pits lined with clay or synthetic material, encasing the hazardous material. They built the repositories to keep water from running through the wastes and hold them in place. The new cleanup strategy the Forest Service is proposing looks at the bigger picture. Mine wastes in several adjacent watersheds will be analyzed to develop the most logical and cost-effective cleanup method for several sites at once. The analysis will involve assessing overall watershed health, determining which old mine sites are causing the worst problems to prioritize cleanup, and evaluating all options for mine site cleanup, including reprocessing. Reprocessing may be logical for sites where wastes are rich in valuable materials. Central repositories are a new cleanup option. Under the right conditions, mine wastes from several sites could be combined and controlled in a single site. Initial studies show that combining mine wastes in centralized repositories could be a cost-effective cleanup alternative. Designing a single repository rather than several would be cheaper. Less land would be disturbed in the process. Mine wastes from within a 20 to 30 mile radius could be moved to a central location. And since fewer repositories would be built overall, long-term operating costs for monitoring and maintenance would be reduced. Why move waste at all? In some areas, creating stable, in-place repositories is simply not feasible. Centrally located repositories would prove beneficial, for example, on steep sites where wastes cannot be stabilized in place. Having several cleanup options across adjacent watersheds will allow land managers to prioritize cleanup while taking advantage of cost savings by tackling several reclamation projects at once. In the process, land managers from various agencies can work together with private owners to clean up the wastes. But how do Forest Service experts know which kind of cleanup strategy to use in each of the various abandoned mine waste sites? To protect the environment, any cleanup strategy that involves leaving historic mine wastes on public land will have to fulfill several criteria. The geology and soil have to be stable, in other words, not prone to erosion or other events that would cause mass movement. Groundwater must not come in contact with the area where the wastes will be deposited. The site must be located and designed so that water can be controlled to limit runoff and protect surface waters. And the area must be free from active faults, fractures, and seismic activity. Also, in areas where mining wastes must be moved off-site, transportation must be readily available. Scientists are using the computerized geographic information system to analyze lands to determine which sites meet the cleanup criteria. Geologic and soil data, information about water flow, transportation routes, and other information will be computer analyzed, yielding a map showing the best way to clean up the watershed.
Right now, the Forest Service has a team put together, and on that team we have district rangers, we have geologists, we have public affairs officers to help handle our public involvement. We have others to help us look at GIS maps to evaluate the problem out here. Another key ingredient of making these things successful is having partners outside the agency, the state agency, the Montana Waste Cleanup Bureaus. Other federal agencies include the United States Geological Survey. That'll be key in providing us with the technical data, the geochemical data, to determine which sites are the most problem sites and be able to prioritize.
Other players include the Environmental Protection Agency, which holds broad responsibilities, including providing rules as to how mine wastes may be treated, the Jefferson and Lewis and Clark County governments, local watershed groups, and all the people who live in and frequent the area. The Forest Service will follow the process used under the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act in establishing agreements among the various agencies and other involved parties. Working with all the players, the Forest Service will develop a memorandum of understanding that will act as an umbrella agreement under which each player's interests and roles are described. Simultaneously, an engineering and cost analysis will be developed that includes various cleanup plans. Finally, the work will be divided among the various participating parties. Experts agree that wastes from abandoned or inactive mines are degrading watershed health and may pose a risk to human health as well. The Forest Service is working together with other public agencies and private parties as well to use the best scientific information available to solve this problem. In creating new options for addressing abandoned mine waste cleanup and in analyzing watersheds in their entirety, the Forest Service is proposing an innovative strategy with a long-range plan to help bring our creeks and streams back to their former health, a strategy to restore Montana's waters.